Jacob meets Esau. Jacob meets Esau. You'll remember that there's been this struggle in Jacob's heart ever since the problem with Esau wanting to kill him. He has been running. Well, it's now time to go back home. So let's see how this turns out. And at the end in our application, I really want to draw on the life of Jacob. And somehow there is this subtle loyalty. May not be that blown up, but this subtle loyalty that I didn't ever see until I started reading this again, this chapter again, of Jacob's loyalty to God. And so in the application tonight, I really want to say to us, remember our covenant that we make with God. Remember our covenants that we have made with God. So last week, Jacob would have sent his servants to go meet Esau. Then he heard that Esau is coming to meet him with 400 men. And of course, he started to do some battle plan strategy. Well, tonight he's going to be meeting Esau. And so Jacob lifted up his eyes and looked, and behold, Esau came. And with Esau were 400 men. And he, Jacob, divided the children unto Leah and unto Rachel and unto the two handmaids. Jacob does not know what kind of heart Esau is coming with. How does he know it's 400? Because the servants already told him that there were 400. Now it is time to step up to the front of the line. You'll remember, like children, and there was a time as a child when they're doing vaccination at your school. And for those like me, we always try to set the back of the line because we're afraid of that injection. And then every time one person move up, we move behind the other person until we're the last person. And then there's no other person coming down until we end up reaching the front of the line. We know how to face it. This is Jacob. He has to go home, but he needs to pass Esau first. He does not know the heart Esau has towards him. So now he starts to make provision to protect his family. Even if Esau is going to kill him, he wants to protect his family. And so he divided the children, Leah and Rachel and the two handmaids. But let's look some more. He put the handmaids and their children. So the two girls that had the other children for him, he put them and their children up front. Right? They can go up front. Then he put Leah and her children after them. And lastly, he put Rachel and Joseph at the back. You can see where the man's heart is to shoot between Rachel and Joseph. So the two handmaids and their children up front, Leah next, and then Rachel. Can you imagine how the man's heart is pounding? He's about to lose his family or keep his family, and he doesn't know. I don't know if you've ever been in that place in your life where you said to God, God, this is it. Whatever comes, that's just what it is. The uncertainty. And Esau came over to him. Now, Jacob is not going to Esau. Esau is coming to him. And Esau passed over before them and bowed himself to the ground 7 times until he came near to his brother. At this point, Jacob now knows my prayer is answered, because his prayer to God was, bring me back in peace And here is his brother bowing to him. What did the scripture say in the prophecy? Before Rebecca started to meddle in it, the prophecy was this: the younger shall rule the older. Rebecca went and created animosity between the two boys. But God's word is coming to pass. The older is now bowing to the younger. 7 times, I don't know why, but 7 times. I don't tell me what its completion, but 7 times he bowed, going to his brother. And Esau ran to meet him, that's Jacob, and embraced him and fell on his neck and kissed him, and they wept. Both brothers cried. Can you imagine, after 20 odd years of fear, after 20 odd years of fear, can you imagine the tears that Jacob cried? And it's almost representing Esau's heart likewise. He was so angry and wanted to kill his brother, and he was so vexed. After 20 years, he's longing to see his brother too. And there are times in our lives when we run away from some situations. But the day is going to come and we have to face up to it. But I tell you that with God's involvement, with God's involvement, I do believe in my heart, we will have peace, one way or the other. And Esau lifted up his eyes and saw the women and the children and said, so who are those with you? And Jacob said, the children which God had graciously given. Look at the humility given to your servant, me. Esau is bowing to Jacob, and Jacob is also bowing to Esau by saying, I am your servant. Then the handmaids came near, they and their children, and they bowed themselves. And Leah also with her children came near and bowed themselves. And after came Joseph near and Rachel, and they bowed themselves. Just in the order in which he had said the handmaids would come first, then Leah, then Rachel, and Joseph. So they still weren't taking any chance. Jacob had a plan. He laid them out. And once they saw the sign that everything was good, then they came in the same order that Jacob had said they should appear. And Esau said, what meanest thou by all this drove which I met? And he, Jacob, said, these are to find grace in thy sight, my Lord. So Esau is saying to him, brother, what kind of animal you're sending up front to me? What is it all about? And Jacob is saying, well, you know, it was to figure out if you're going to find grace in your sight or not. It's like a white cloth I'm waving. I wave them before you, and if you accepted them, then at least I'll recognize that we're all good. And Esau said, me, no man, I have enough, my brother. So keep what you have to yourself. So Esau did make it in life. He did make it in life. He said, I don't want what you have. But you see, there's 2 thoughts going on here. Esau is saying that I have enough. Jacob is not giving him gifts to increase what he has. Jacob is sending the gifts to find out if there was peace between them. Esau is thinking about numbers. Jacob is thinking about, did I find grace in your sight? Will you welcome me back home? And Jacob said, no, brother, I know you don't want them, but tell you what, if no I have found grace in thy sight, then accept my presence, man. Just take them, man. For therefore have I seen thy face, as though I had seen the face of God, and thou was pleased with me. In other words, he was a man just like how when I meet God and God was pleased with me, I realize, so you're pleased with me, you're all right with me. And there's no bitterness, there's no hatred there. We say purity in your heart. And Jacob is saying, take these as an act of demonstration of that gracious countenance that I'm looking at. Take them, my brother, take them. Take, I pray thee, my blessing that is brought to thee, because God had dealt graciously with me and because I have enough. And Jacob urged him. And Esau said, no problem, I'll take it. I'll take it. Can you imagine when they left, somebody was robbing somebody? When they parted over 20 odd years ago, somebody was angry with somebody because somebody took something from them. The first time they meeting after 20 odd years, look at what's going on between the two of them. Take this, man, I don't want it. You take it, man, I don't want it, man. No, man, I have enough, you keep that. No, man, I have enough, you keep that. After 20 years, they have enough to share and nobody taking from anybody. God have a way of working things out. But I tell you that Jacob have patience. After 20 years, and he said, let us take our journey and let us go. And I will go before thee. That's Jacob, right? No, that's Esau, rather, right? And I will go before you. And Jacob said to him, my Lord, know it that the children are tender, and the flocks and herds are young that are with me. And if I should drive them or overdrive them, the flock is going to die. So somehow the boys are still young and he still have young animals with him. And he's saying to Esau, I can't push them this hard because the cattle will die. Let my Lord, I pray thee, pass over. You go ahead before your servant, and I will lead on softly. I will come slowly. I will come slowly. And I really want you to mark this. I really want you to mark this. Jacob is saying, I will come behind you, but I'm going to come slowly, according as the cattle that go before me, and the children be able to endure until I come unto my Lord unto Mount Seir. So Jacob is saying, I'm going to go as fast as the young cattle. I'm going to go as fast as my children can travel. And then I'll come to Mount Seir to you. Now, something is going on right here, and I hope you pick it up. I hope you pick it up. Jacob is saying, I will come to Mount Seir. Now, when you think about Mount Seir, I have it right here where Edom is. So Seir, Mount Seir is equivalent to Edom, right? So Mount Seir is located in Edom, and it's a region southeast of the Salt Sea, now part of Saudi Arabia. Edom was settled by Esau, the twin brother of Jacob. And of course, this land was promised to them by God. Hold on. The children of Esau are called Edomites, right? They battle against the Horites and destroy them. Mount Seir is specifically noticed as a place where Esau made his home. So Esau would have left where they were living earlier on in Canaan, and he would have taken a position now in Mount Seir. So if you look to the north is where Canaan was. So clearly then Esau came to the south and he lived at Edom. The word Seir means rough or hairy. So we know that it is still referencing Esau, the name of a mountainous region occupied by the Edomites. They live like in caves, like in the mountains. All right. Now, these are the descendants of Edom, and right, include the historical founders. So those descendants of Edom to this day, many scholars have concluded that the Russians are part of the Edomites lineage. Some Chinese is from the Edomites lineage, and those of Japan are also from the Edomites lineage. And there is this kind of seesaw with King Herod, that Herod was also an Edomite, right? So Esau and offshoots from the people of Seir was important in the genesis of ancient Sparta, of early Rome, of Venice, and of Germany, and of the numerous other nations. Esau was also known as Edom. Look at the genealogy. Abraham begot Isaac. Isaac had Esau and Israel. Now the sons of Esau were Eliphaz, Reuel, Jush, and Jalam, Korah. Now, remember now that the son that we have for Esau is going to be Eliphaz. Now, Eliphaz has a boy by the name of Teman. So you remember in Habakkuk chapter 3, where Habakkuk would have said God came from Teman. It's a place, right? And that's, of course, would be a son of Eliphaz. Included in this would have been the Amalekites. And the Amalekites would have been the one that King Saul should have killed. Because the Amalekites were the one who were hindering Israel from coming up out of Egypt. So the sons of Esau, we got Eliphaz and Eliphaz of Amalek, right? And then we got this other boy, long verse 38 on the board, and the sons of Seir. So we do know that Seir is a grandchild of Esau. And so Esau went to live in that region where Seir would have taken up. Thus, it became a synonymous name. So if you talk about Esau, it's going to be Edomites, and the Edomites live in Mount Seir. And that's why we put them together. Seir with Esau. So just like you say, the Midianites or the Ishmaelites, they were seen as one set of people. So if you would have read in Genesis that it was the Ishmaelites who sold Joseph to Potiphar, you're going to read on that time that it was the Midianites. That's because they are nomadic people and they work as one. So sometimes you say Ishmaelite, but it's talking about the Ishmaelites and the Midianites. So the context will tell the same thing, right? Even for Esau and Seir. So let's get back to Esau and Jacob. Just want you to get that highlight because it's going to become important later on in our studies, right? Now, Esau is going ahead of Jacob. Jacob is saying to Esau, I will come behind you. I'm going to walk softly. I'm going to come slowly. I can tell you this. It just grabbed me when I saw the loyalty in Jacob. I did not see this before. When I said never see it before, all the time, well, just like yourself, there are things that are new to me. And this was one of them. And I tell you that it hit my heart like, wow. Jacob said to Esau, I will come slowly behind you, and I'll come to Mount Seir. Look this. Remember that Jacob had prayed a prayer and asked God to bring him back to his father's place, not to Mount Seir. And Esau said, let me know, leave with thee some of the folks that are with me. And he, Jacob, said, you don't need to leave your men with me. Let me find grace in thy sight, O my Lord, of my Lord. So Esau is saying, even though you decide to come slowly to Mount Seir, I'm going to leave some men to travel with you. I do not know if Esau had any intent. I believe that Jacob had an intent. Because if Esau left the men to travel with Jacob, Jacob have to go to Mount Seir. But in Jacob's prayer to the Lord, he never prayed to go to Mount Seir and pray to go back to his father's house in a Canaan. So Esau returned that day on his way onto Mount Seir. And Jacob journeyed to Succoth, not Mount Seir, and built him an house and made booths for his cattle. Therefore, the name of the place is called Succoth. And Jacob came to Shalem, a city of Shechem, which is in the land of Canaan, when he came from Padanaram and pitched his tent before the city. You remember last week we were talking about, maybe, I don't remember what asked the question, about Dinah. And if you notice who's now in the picture, Shechem is now in the picture. And so the Bible tells us, right, that Jacob now came to live in the land of Canaan, in that little area of Shechem, and he bought a piece of land from Shechem's father, from Hamor, for 100 pieces of money. So we now notice, right, and you know, when we pick up next year, going to see now that there's this relationship between Hamor and Jacob, because Jacob now bought a piece of land out of his own land from Shechem, from Shechem's father. Point is this. Jacob prayed and asked God to bring him back to Canaan. Esau said, come with me to Mount Seir. Jacob was focused on that covenant he made with God. If you bring me back in peace, you will be my God. Esau is now luring, whether by intent or not, luring Jacob to come to Mount Seir. Jacob is keeping his loyalty to God. He went now back to Canaan. And he erected there an altar and called it El Elohi Israel, which means the mighty God of Israel. So Jacob is now back at home. Back home. And the first thing the guy did was make a pillar, an altar. And he says, the mighty God of Israel. Who's the mighty God of Israel? Well, he did not say the mighty God of Jacob. He now used his new name. For the first time, he used it in the land that's going to call by the name Israel. For the first time, all the saying you see now that even after God would have said to him, your name is now Israel. You'd never see that name being used. But now he comes into the land. He now says, this is El Elohe Israel, the mighty God of Israel. So he now named the land Israel. I love this character. I love this character. You see, when Jacob ran away first, he called that first place Bethel, the house of God. The first time he come back into the land, he says, this is the mighty God of Israel. His name was Israel, and the land became Israel. Remember, we talked about this, a redemptive plan with a redemptive people and a redemptive place. This was it now. So Jacob now give the place the right name, Israel. It belongs to God. So this is where Shechem is. So if you notice, right, that, sorry, I should have made this a little bit clearer. So the green line that is pointing downward, it would have taken Jacob now to Mount Seir. But instead he went up to Succoth and then went over to Shechem. And he's in the land called Israel now. So for the first time now, the place is going to be called Israel. Jacob prayed to go back home. He had a covenant with God. Esau's invitation would take Jacob away from the covenant made with God. I'm telling you, I love this character. And I'm telling you this, I did not even see this before until I began preparation again of this chapter. And I realized for the first time that Jacob did not get lured away from the promise he made to God. If you bring me back to this land, he never get to the land yet, you know. He did not get to the land yet when Esau invited him to come to Mount Seir. So if he had gone with Esau, he would have never entered that promised land. Well, at this time, in conclusion, God kept his promise. And here's the conversation. And behold, I am with thee, and will keep thee in all places, whither you goest, and will bring thee again into this land, for I will not leave thee until I have done that which I have spoken of thee to thee. Can you realize? God says, I will not leave you until I bring you back into this land. If Jacob had gone with Esau to Mount Seir, he would not have gone back to the land that God promised to bring him to. Jacob did the right thing. He said to Esau, you go on. I will catch up with you in Mount Seir. But he didn't tell him when he go reach up there. And when Esau left the men, or was about to leave the men, Jacob said, no, don't leave your men. Take them with you. I will catch up with you. All I want to know is that there's peace between us. You can go on with your men, go back home. But I'm not putting this in, but I got a promise to keep with my God. Jacob now kept his promise because this is what he had said. And Jacob vowed a vow saying, if God will be with me and will keep me in this way that I go and will give me bread to eat and raiment to put on, so that I come again to my father's house in peace. Then shall the Lord be my God. That was Jacob's prayer. Jacob's covenant was, I want to go back home in a peace. The Lord says, I will bring you back to this land. Esau said to him, come with me, man. Come to Mount Seir. Come to Mount Seir with me. God kept his promise. Jacob kept his promise. Application. God brought you back into fellowship with your enemy. God would have kept his promise. Jacob already made peace with Esau. He no need to go yard. I mean, he make peace with him already. That's all Jacob wanted enough to know that there's peace between us. Look here, you make a peace. God bring you back into peace and fellowship with somebody who hates you or, bad relationship. People, please. You don't need to go to their home because you already make peace with them. You don't need to go prove it by going further with them. No, you have a relationship with God and you made a promise with God. Bring me to peace with such and such, and I will serve your God. Where you go to next one yard for now? You already make peace and you don't need to go for a party down there. So now, Canaan is the promised land, not Mount Seir. Jacob's head was cooled onto his body. When he went back to the land, the first thing he did was to make a monument and said, this is the mighty God of Israel. He prayed when he was running away, and he prayed when he's walking back. Remember that Jacob was running all the time until God jammed him in his side. And him had a limp. Yes. So yes, the children were weak. The children were small and couldn't walk fast. The animals were young and couldn't walk fast. Jacob himself was walking with a limp. When he was at Bethel, his 2 feet were strong. When he went back, only 1 foot was good. And yet he said, this is the mighty God of Israel. He stepped in the land with 1 good foot and said, this land belongs to my God. Remember, you were trapped in a Laban's territory. Be careful of Mount Seir. If Jacob had gone to Mount Seir, would have a different history right now, because what would have happened down there? How long would he spend down there with Esau? We don't know. And by going to Canaan, Jacob took charge now of his life. Nobody's running his life anymore. His mother ran his life for years. His uncle ran his life for years. His brother caused him to run for many years. Now Jacob put on his foot, the 1 good foot. And he said, no, I'm going to the promised land. Because he had said to God, if you bring me back, you will be my God. And God did bring him back. And just at the brink of crossing Jordan there, so just on the brink of crossing over, Esau said, come with me, man. Come with me to Mount Seir. Jacob said, you go on. God will place with my God. Tonight I'm saying to us, my wish, my prayer is that all of us will find peace with each other. Find peace in our homes. Find peace at our workplaces, with family members, with friends. That we don't have enemies. That's my prayer for all of us. For all of us. And I pray that we'll remember our commitment to serve God. And when God would have fulfilled his promises to us, you don't need to follow your enemy going to them yard. You need to follow the Lord back to where he promised he would bring you to. Jacob kept that and he went back home. There's going to be history. There's going to be more history coming up. Because now he bought a land from Shechem's father, and Shechem now is going to hurt Dinah. And that's going to be history that we'll pick up on when we get back in our session.